Hey everyone, this is Lomi, and today I'm making probably the easiest part of the outfit I have in mind for my doll Vahn, which is making his tabard. I'm doing this outfit all out of order, but sometimes it's nice to have little pieces like this that can easily be squeezed into a few free minutes here and there across the span of a few days. The most important part of this project is the emblem on the front, which is the crest of Ilmenhith's royal family. Vahn is a soldier for this kingdom, and their colors are blue and silver, so I'm putting the star in silver on blue satin. This will be the only saturated color in his outfit, the rest will be pretty bland, so I'm hoping it'll really help it pop. Since I got my hybrid machine, I haven't shown a lot of the embroidery work I've done with it because I mostly have used it to make plushies for my daughter or patches for human clothing. This is one of the first major doll projects I've used it for. My machine is a Brother LB5000, which is a combination sewing and embroidery machine, and it can do designs up to 4x4 inches, which I've found has generally been plenty for doll projects. I make a lot of my own embroidery designs because I'm used to doing work with vector graphics. I use them a lot when designing interior formatting for my books, and I use a free open source program called InkStitch to convert my vector designs into embroidery projects that are compatible with my machine. I can even select color swatches inside InkStitch that correspond to colors on embroidery thread, so I can get a preview of what a design will look like right in the program. I made this particular design with the circle overlapping the star as a satin stitch that gets done last, and the machine pauses between the star and circle, so I have the choice of using this design again with the circle in different colors. I'm not sure when or if I'll use it again, but having the option is really nice. The tabard itself is just a rectangle about 2 feet long and 6 inches wide. I considered doing some fancy edging, but decided to keep it simple and practical, so the ends will just be square. It's a little longer in the back than the front, which I thought added a bit of visual interest. This piece will ultimately go over the top of his chainmail and be cinched at the waist with a belt, so it doesn't look like a lot yet. The opening for the neck is a simple circle that gets finished with a facing, so I start sewing with that, finishing the edge of the facing piece with a zigzag stitch. That gets pinned face down to the right side of the tabard and pinned around the neck. Then it's just a matter of sewing it on and snipping into the seam allowance so it'll turn right side out neatly. The tabard itself also gets the edges finished with a zigzag stitch, which I really thought I had recorded, but apparently not. So the last step of construction is just folding the edges to the inside and sewing them down. I fold them in by 1/4 inch or so, then sew them down with a regular straight stitch. It's really easy just sewing a big rectangle, so there's not too much to say about the task. It's an easy thing to make, but I feel like it's going to be an important part of this outfit. In the books the characters from the Snake's Blood saga, the star embroidered on this tabard is supposed to symbolize guidance from previous generations, with each set of points representing a generation. That's why the points are different sizes too. The smallest pair of points at the top represent one's great-grandparents, the middle pair represents their grandparents, and the large pair toward the bottom represents their parents, while the single long spike pointing downward represents oneself, with the circle overlapping previous generations to draw together every generation that led to who you are. The symbolism isn't the most pleasant for those who wear it in the story, because the point where we step in and narration begins is where the country is beginning to fall apart, and those who have to take up the mantle of leadership have their own struggles with family that make it a bittersweet emblem. That's true of Vahn too, so I imagine he'd be both proud to wear his kingdom's heraldry, but also troubled by the symbolism behind it. It's going to look great in photos though, and it's exciting to see each piece come together. At some point this year, I'd like to invest in a new camera for filming. I used my first DSLR for filming for quite a few years, but it started developing a lot of hot pixels, and having a bunch of neon red specks all over my videos didn't look good. I switched to using a cell phone when that happened, and it works fine, but I do miss the quality I was able to get with my big camera. It's been a hard decision, partly because DSLR cameras are being phased out, but that's what all my lenses are for. If I switched to a more modern mirrorless camera, I'd basically be starting over, and it would be a lot more expensive. But keeping my existing gear and just getting a newer, better camera body means getting something that's already obsolete, as Canon isn't making any more DSLRs. The T8i was the last one, and that model is already 4 years old, so I don't know how much use I'll get out of it. Then again, I used my T3i for almost 12 years, and I still use it for photography, so just getting a new DSLR camera body seems to be the best solution as far as expense goes. I'll be saving for a little while, but right now I'm thinking the T7i or T8i should do what I need without any problems, and hopefully they'll make my videos a lot more attractive too. But I'm done sewing for today, so that means Vaughn's tabard is done, and I can mark that one off the list. I don't really have any ideas for which piece of the project I'm making when, but I've already spent a lot of time working on the pattern for his pants, so that seems like it will be my next step. The gambeson is the one I'm looking forward to the most because it's something I can make for quite a few of my dog eyes, and I'll get to try several new techniques in making it that I'm eager to practice and play with. The end for his armor seems nowhere in sight though, as making chainmail takes forever and a half. In the future, I think I'll stick with fabrics that give the impression of chainmail without involving all this work, even if it's going to look amazing when it's all finished. For now, it's nice to get a glimpse at the top layer of the outfit, even if Vaughn's looking a little silly in just his tabard and his stain-blocking tights. Totally ready for battle, right? Poor guy. That's all for today though. Thanks for watching. Bye.